Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello guys, today I would like to give you some of information that I've read and that I've written in my summaries, and that is about my articles. Yeah, I had read 10 articles in these extensive reading programs actually in the fourth semester. But before I'm going to start to explain, I would like to introduce about myself before. My name is Nisrina Nibras and I'm from 4A in Department of English Education. So, before we're gonna start to explain, I will give you the term or the name for these articles, and the term of these articles are literacy strategies, uh, assessment and analyzing, and I will also mention for these articles. And the first is about engaging literacy competence through critical literacy in an EFL setting, and the second is about the practical teachers understanding on early literacy implementation and obstacle in teaching learning activities. The third is about English reading comprehension strategies employed by students of first year English education program, and the fourth is about the effect of applying the talk to the text strategy on students' reading comprehension in narrative text, and the fifth is about the effectiveness of scaffolding strategy in EFL reading comprehension, and the sixth is about a description of the uses of metacognitive, self-regulation, and cognitive strategy used with reading comprehension. And the seven is about an analysis of cognitive reading strategies used in reading comprehension. And the eight is about assessing student critical literacy capacity, visible or impractical. And the nine is about developing authentic assessment for reading competence. And the last is about analyzing teachers' question in reading activity. So I got all of these articles from Advances in Social Science Education and Humanities Researchers, or we can call that is ASSEH. So we're gonna talk about the first point first, and it's about engaging literacy competence through critical literacy in an EFL setting. Actually, these articles talk about the developing student literacy competence through the aspect of the ability to respond of the literature in a target language, and it also explained about the write literary text and also writing self reflection who can improve student skill, because you know that literacy is not just a matter for finding the meaning of the text, but it's also more flexible and complex to got to know the process for the literacy learning, so that teachers should control the student activities for literacy learning, and because students can process their knowledge for the critical thinking. And the second is about the preschool teachers' understanding on early literacy implementation and obstacle in teaching learning activities. Well, for the second articles, it's related with the first article, but for the second is talking about the preschool teachers' understanding on early literacy policy with the basic concept. Well, it's discussed about for investigate the implementation on the early literacy in the school, and the writer also want to know what the obstacle is in the early learning literacy, because you know that early literacy is plays a key role in enabling the kind of early learning experiences, so that in here a teacher, parents and student are related to each other, because a teacher is introducing the early literacy for their student, and also parents struggle to build the reading habits for their children, and the student can encourage their interest for the reading literacy. And the next is about the third is about English reading comprehension strategies employed by the student of first year English education program. Is written by Eddy Haryanto, Amirul Mukminin, Akhmad Habibi, Urip, Sulistiyo, and Misbie Septi Peni. And the outdoors is discussed about the English reading comprehension strategies employed by the student of first year English education program. Well, it started to talk about the strategy of a reading competence, and in this study obtains deeper for understanding, for knowing and comprehends the reading text, and it will be true with the cognitive and metacognitive strategy. And also it has the three headings. It will such as pre-reading, while reading, and post-reading, because in these articles the researcher wants to analyze the strategy. Is there have a function with the strategy for their student. And next is about the effect of applying the talk to the text strategy on student reading comprehension in narrative text. Yeah, it start to begin talk about the reading strategy in narrative text. Yeah, in reading narrative text is investigate for applying talk to the text strategy, and by applying to quasi-experimental design, specifically is through the pretest and post-test, because student score is still low for reading competence, so that with this strategy student doesn't feel the difficult again and can use this strategy for knowing and understanding the text well. And next is about the effectiveness of scaffolding strategy in EFL reading comprehension, written by Sri Wachyunni. Sri Wachyunni talks about the effectiveness in scaffolding, but the difference is it is for the EFL's reading context and through the experimental and control group, because in the FL context in just only used for the university level, because the research tells that this is student can use this strategy for knowing and find the differences between the experimental and group when the comprehend the reading competence, so that it the writer also said that it is this strategy helps students effectively to comprehend the text. And the next is about a description of the uses of metacognitive, self-regulation, and cognitive strategy used with reading comprehension, written by Intan, Septian, Latifa. The authors, these articles, intends to discuss about a description of the use metacognitive self-regulation and also cognitive strategy, because it is related with the 2000 curriculum in 2013, which is that student will be active and will be participate in their classroom. And then for reading text, student should observe and also should know what the text about, and how they understand and comprehend the text well with this metacognitive and cognitive strategy, because teacher is just help student when student got the difficult, and student in here will be active for this. And the next is about an analysis of cognitive reading strategies used in reading comprehension, written by Intan Asmara. For these articles is related with the cognitive strategies, that cognitive strategy can solve the student's problem when the student cannot guess what the meaning is from the text and what the context from the sentences, and can answer the question from the text, so that in this strategy it makes student to more actively understand for about the sentences well. And then it's about assessing student critical literacy capacity, feasible or impractical. So it's relate about the student scale with what they have, because it will be such as a teacher assessment, because when they got a critical literacy, critical thinking, student can make a question and appear the question in their mind, and also the question will be as a teacher assessment. I mean, is there a question will be impractical or feasible, so that in these articles teachers can improve their competence in providing assessment for a student. And the next is about developing authentic assessment for reading competence. It's written by Hazairin Eko Prasetya. For this article is talking about how teachers develop authentic assessment, because this now, I mean, today in Indonesia still have a problem for get the authentic assessment, because teacher still do the task, make the task with through the existing book, like a workbook, and it present like multiple choices or like an essay of portfolio, but it's not enough to get the authentic assessment. So that in these articles the writer hopes that student can be develop and improve the critical thinking for make the real test of the good test for give the authentic assessment for their student. And the last is about analyzing teachers question in reading activity, is written by Muhammad Hasanul Akil. So in this article is explained about the problem of the low level of question teachers, because now teachers still ask a question with a low level, and that makes a bad influence to their student, because student cannot encourage their critical thinking and cannot thinking more highly or comprehending with the question, so that it will relate the before articles. The writer also hopes that a teacher can be more highly and critical for ask a question for their student. But before it, I wanna tell you that why I chose all of these articles, because actually these articles is related to with what I did in extensive reading, for reading competence. And when I first time read these articles, I'm interested for knowing more to the reading competence, and it makes me fun to knowing about it. And in the other hand, I also relate this case in these articles with the extensive reading program, when Miss Dida give us the opportunity to make a summary novel and summary not textbook, and also review articles, and that makes us to improve our critical thinking, so that I very thankful for this opportunity. And so that's all about my articles that I've read in this extensive reading program. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.